Hi, I'm Father Michael Orsi. I am your host for Action for Life Television, that good news program with the big G for the gospel of Jesus Christ and the little g, all the good things that people do to put that gospel of life into action. Today, we have a program that deals with Latinos Por La Vida. How's that? That's about the extent of my Spanish, but I think I said it right, didn't I, Omar?
Great to be with you. Absolutely. You got it right. Latinos Por La Vida.
Okay. Omar Aguilar is the head of Latinos Por La Vida. And naturally, it has to do with the program that he is in charge of for promoting right to life in, I believe, the great state of Texas. Am I correct?
Nationwide, honestly. Our intent is to reach out all the Latinos in the United States and beyond our frontiers.
Isn't that fantastic? Okay, let's find out. Okay, first of all, this is it different from, say, people who are working with the Anglo community? Is it different?
It is and it is not. And let me explain you why, right? I mean, it is the same. We're all fighting for human dignity, for the rights of those in the womb of the mom, for the dignity of those, sick, for those ill, for those the incarcerated, and every single person. So when we're talking about being pro-life, it's about being pro the right to every single person to live into that, to live their lives to the fullest extent of their possibilities. But it is also a little bit different because when we're talking about the Latino community, we are very, shall we say, colorful, flavorful, a little bit different. We come all the way from South America all the way to the Rio Grande. So it is a little bit different, but at the end of the day, Father, is not, because we're intending to do the same thing, just to proclaim the gospel of life and to teach our fellow Americans or fellow Latin Americans that are coming, they're new to the U.S. as well. We're trying to talk to them and to teach them what it is to be pro-life and how we can achieve that. So in a way, it is a little different because the message got to be packaged for a Latino speaking, for the Hispanic speaking, Spanish speaking community. But at the same time, we're talking about the same thing.
Yes. I want to just follow up on something that you said. Latin Americans, Central Americans, they encompass many, many different nations, and they bring their own culture with them. It's not all the same. Believe me, I found this out when we have a parish festival, and each group has their own little booth with their own food, which is delicious, and their own dancing and their own singing. How do you reach so many different communities? Because when you come to the United States, basically you have a common culture, unless somebody is newly immigrated from someplace else. So how do you package it? Colombians, Venezuelans, Uruguay, Argentina, how do you do that?
And it is quite an interesting question, Father. But so basically, let's start off by looking at the things that we have in common. And one thing that is very common to all of us in Latin America is that besides being very joyful, we are very pro-family, right? In our culture, it's very common that when our parents or grandparents get older, the fight amongst the family is who gets to keep them. Right? The fight is, no, they're staying with me, no, they're staying with me. And that's the big fight, who gets to keep them, who gets to keep grandma or grandpa. And so for us, it is important to always be reminded that among our own community, that we are by nature a pro-life family.
I like that. I like what you said. I mean, you're talking about, who's fighting to keep the grandparents. Over here, the question is, what nursing home will we send them to? It's so different. And, I have a special love for the Hispanic community. My parish has a number of people who are Hispanic, come from South America, Central America, Mexico. They come in, they bring their culture, as we said, but they are also very devout people. And a lot of them are Catholic. And, of course, many of them have gone to evangelical churches. And the evangelical churches are also very pro-life. So, I have a lot of friends that I can talk to about a lot of the evangelical pastors. And it seems that, we're able to work together on the life issues. What you just said, though, is even more important insofar as it's not just about life from conception, but you're talking about the whole life span, taking care of grandparents, which is, absolutely fantastic, because a lot of times people think, oh, what do you do with old people? And sometimes they think that old guys like me, who wants to be bothered with them? Hey, folks, be nice to the old people. I mean, I'm one of them. But it's the whole lifespan, from conception, through the whole life cycle, and then through, old age, and then natural dying. And that's an important thing. So tell me, your program, you bring it to the Hispanic community. We know they're a diverse community in many ways. They do have a common faith, a common love of Jesus and the gospel and love of family. What do you do to inculcate in them this respect for life? What do you do? What's your program?
So one of the things that we do, first of all, is once again, is going back to don't forget where you're coming from, right? And when many of our brothers from Latin America move to the U.S., they're moving for the greatest reason of all, because they love their life and they want to take care of their families and they want to progress and they want to succeed and they want to be better and they want to provide the better for their families. And that's all beautiful. But let us not forget that also it's about preserving our culture, preserving who you are. We in the Latino community, we still in that part that we still need to preserve who we are, where we come from. Don't ever forget your roots, your background, your heritage, your culture, your faith. And so for us, it is important to, first of all, remind everyone, it's funny because there's Hispanics here in the U.S. that they've been here forever. They didn't cross a border, the border crossed them, But at the same time, we have families that are just moving here over the last couple of years. So it is this huge melting pot of different people, all throughout the ages, and yet the message remains the same. It's all about preserving our culture. It's all about preserving who we are, and at the same time, facing the realities of our world, of this new age, facing the realities of the culture of death, facing the realities of this huge target that we have on our backs. The Latino community, it is the largest minority in the United States. It says that every 32nd a Hispanic teen is turning 18. One day we're going to be the ones, hopefully, God willing, we're going to be the ones in power, in those quote unquote places of making the big decision. But what decisions are those going to be if we don't learn about this?
Talk to me about the decisions that you want to prepare the Hispanic community to be able to make in the future. Right now, as a matter of fact, it's important right now, voting and all of those things. When you go to them, what do you say? What do you want them to know, to do?
First of all, that we need to preserve our faith and that we are a pro-family culture. When we're talking about life-changing decision and those decisions to take, obviously, first of all, most of us will think about, well, maybe you are the CEO of a company, maybe you get the managerial position. But even before that, what is your vocation in life? If your vocation in life is to be a parent, is to be a mother, is to be a father, we need to talk about the family. We need to talk about raising our kids and our daughters and our sons to become a better husband, a better wife.
Excuse me, Omar, I got to stop just for a moment. And what you're saying is absolutely brilliant. I mean, this is brilliant because the key, the basic building block of our society is the family. It's the family. You get the family straightened out, you're going to cut down on the number of abortions. You're going to cut down on the number of divorces. You're going to cut down on the number of senior citizens who are not cared for. You see, folks, this is foundational. This is foundational. So, Omar, you're starting at the right place. Keep going. You're music to my ears.
No, absolutely. Start off with the family, right? We got to raise our families the right way, right? I mean, if you believe in God, you got to follow His commands. You got to love one another. You got to raise your kids the right way. And even if, let's say, if you're an agnostic, even if you don't profess any faith, more so it is important for you to create the proper and the right space for the family, for the kids to flourish and to grow and to become a better person. So it's all about, it always starts with the family, because because like you just said it, Father, if we take care of the family, everything else will take care of itself, right? I see many efforts that are trying to start at the end, right? We go and pray outside the abortion mills. Please keep on doing it. That is extremely important. But if you think about it, that's the end of the road. What are we doing at the beginning of it?
You could go, pray in front of the Planned Parenthood, and that's wonderful. But he makes the statement, it's the end of the rope. You got to start a lot sooner than that. And that way, Planned Parenthood wouldn't even have anybody even thinking of going there. Yeah, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. Okay, I want to know, though, what exactly do you do to promote this idea of family? Could you talk to us about that?
Yes, absolutely. For instance, when a community invites us to go over, first of all, we want to know what is it that you need, because each community is a little different, right? And so for us as Latinos Por La Vida, basically, one of the things that we do is we want to become this place where all of us come together, where this platform, this is space where we meet and we exchange ideas and we share resources. So if a community, let's say, thanks to you, Father, and this invitation, someone from Florida or anywhere else call us and say, hey guys, would you like, we would like for you guys to come to our parish, to our community, to talk to us about these things. So we always start off with the basic. Okay, what is it that you need? What are your particular needs? For instance, there's communities there, they have way too many young adults and there's nothing going on for the young adults. So we help them create the program or find the resources that they need so everyone can get engaged in their own way, at their own level in the pro-life efforts.
So you would go to a parish, to a church, to community and say, what do you folks need from us? And then you have the ability to begin to nurture or found a youth group?
Yep.
Okay, what do you do? What do you tell them? Say, hey kids, we're having a pizza party tonight. What do you do?
Well, normally, there's always a structure that we offer them. We say, okay, this is what you can start off. It all depends, what kind of community you are. Are you guys able to meet during a week or in a weekend? What is it how many things are you thinking about? Or if it's a family ministry, and then we say, okay, this is what you can do. This is some of the things that you can start off with, and then go from there. So for us, it's about helping those in their particular situation, in their particular needs. There's not one size fits all, because we're all different. We were saying it at the beginning. You were saying it, Father, right? All of us are Latinos. We're very different. When you're talking to someone from El Salvador, it's not the same as you're talking about from someone from Colombia. And even though we speak the same language, there are some things that are a little different. And that's beautiful. That's the beauty of this challenge of engaging the pro-life efforts with the Latino community.
Okay, we talked earlier about the importance of the family, and now we talked about the youth. Everybody is talking about, the needs of youth. But the real needs of youth should be taken care of in the marriage. Husband and wife, mommy and daddy, they are the ones that are the most important people to train the people, the children, their teenagers, their babies, in the right way. Now, do you have a ministry? There has to be a ministry to married couples. There has to be, because we lose a lot of people because the marriages deteriorate, they break down. And folks, let me tell you something. There's nothing more detrimental to the well-being of a child and to the well-being of a couple than deciding to get a divorce. I'm telling you that right now, folks. We're going to go to a break, and then we're going to come right back, okay? We would like to thank our generous sponsors for their wonderful support. Okay, here we are, Omar, we're back. And let's talk about your quick story.
A while back, I went to visit my mom and dad. They live nearby me, and I walked in there. My mom's in the kitchen. I said, "Where's my dad?" And he was on the backyard cleaning and working in his driveway and all of that. So I go to the back. My dad is almost done cleaning, and it looks beautiful. It's all nice and clean. And we just stand there talking, for a little while. And I see from the corner of my eye, I see two kids, probably about, I don't know, 9, 10 years old, two little kids coming our way. And, I'm talking to my dad, minding our own business. And funny thing, by the time the kids get near to us, one of the kids is holding like 2 lollipops. And without even hesitating, he unwraps the lollipops and just throws the candy away, the wrap away. And obviously my dad just finished cleaning everything up. So my dad looks at the kid and he goes, "Hey, pick it up." It's all he says. He's not even mad. He's just telling the kid, "Pick it up." Oh, goodness heavens. The little kid turns around and start yelling and screaming at my dad with the biggest mouth that you can think of it. Some words that I didn't even hear before that day. And he's going on my dad for like 30 seconds. And I'm standing there, I'm froze. I don't know what to say. And the little kid is just going on my dad like it's the end of the world. Finally, I stuttered and I said, whoa, wait. The little kid turns to me and he starts going on me, Father. And pretty much the same thing. And once again, it takes me about another 30 seconds to process what's going on. I don't even know why, but the only thing that comes out of my mouth is this what your father is teaching you? Is this the way your father speaks to you? That's all, without even thinking what I'm saying. It just came out of my mouth. When I'm finished saying the sentence, "Father," the little kid's face totally changes. And he looks at me straight in the eye and he says, "Father, I don't have a father. I don't even know who's my father." And at that moment, Father, my heart broke. And I wanted to hug him so bad because I understood right in there that it was impossible for that 9, 10-year-old kid to behave like a man. He's never seen one. He's never seen one. And so to me, that was one of those moments when I realized even more so. It begins with the family. We need to start raising our kids in a family with the father figure, with the mother figure.
Let me just talk to you about that. And this is, again, something that you folks know. We've been together a long time. Fathers are very, very important. Very important. And unfortunately, a lot of fathers are not present in the home. Some children, as Omar said, don't even know who their fathers are. And gentlemen out there, please pass on this word to your sons. You are role models for them. You stay there. You take care of them. You support everything that they need and that your wife needs. Go to work. Go to work. Support your family. It will make all the difference in the world because they will learn from you, fathers, what it is to be a real man. A real man takes responsibility. A real man stays with his wife. A real man takes care of his sons, takes care of his daughters, and you'll pass that on from generation to generation. Sometimes I hear of places that have a program just for men, just for men, a night for fathers. And I encourage some, churches and other organizations to do that because if you don't teach respect for life from the home, from the very beginning, it's not just in the womb. You see that little boy that Omar was talking about? He had no respect for life. He didn't even know who his father was, and he's talking trash to people he didn't even know. What else do you do? So you go in, you talk about setting up a youth group, you go talk about marriages, we talk about fatherhood. What else do you guys do?
Once again, when we're talking about what it truly means to be pro-life, there is no really limit to it. Everything that we do in life is about being pro-life. It's about human dignity. It's about loving one another. It's about respecting one another. In this crazy world of ours, we're challenged every single day. It is the catchphrase of the century, right? Rights. Everyone's demanding rights. This group is asking for rights. That group's asking for rights, and everyone's demanding. My rights need to be respected, and I'm always right, and my truth is the only truth. And, yes, that might be right to a certain extent, but overall, the whole picture is human dignity. It all begins when we value human dignity from the very beginning of its existence. And that's one of the biggest challenges for us in the Latino community. We cannot emphasize that enough, because if you're thinking about it, families move here. Literally, communities move here. People move here because they're chasing the American dream. They're chasing the success in life. They want more money. They want a bigger house. They want a newer truck or a newer car. They want the latest cell phone. But sometimes the trade-off is that you must accept abortion, that you must accept, this way of this sexual revolution and all of these things. And for us in the Latino community, it's one of the biggest challenges that when we embrace and the United States, the greatest nation in the face of the earth, welcomes us, it needs to be a fair exchange. It needs to be we're gaining a better life, and at the same time, it is our duty to provide a better life to the nation in itself. And so that begins when we as a community understand that we have too much to offer to the United States, not only through our work and through our families, but also through our legacy, those that we're leaving behind. And once again, it always goes back, it's like, San JP2 used to say it a lot in theology of the body, in the beginning, it's always going back to the beautiful beginning, man and wife. That moment when God said, and he blessed them, and be fruitful, and fill the land. It's what it's all about. It's all about understanding that we're called to be family, to respect life, to be pro-life. And the Latino community, once again, we still on that stage. It's all about preserving it. It's all about it to keep repeating it and talking about it. And very important, to teach it to our little kids, because our little kids in our communities are literally growing in two worlds. The world that they see at home with their families, where they'll be speaking Spanish and going to church and living the sacraments. And then they go out into the world and they facing like two different worlds. And in reality, it's not. It is one world. It is one nation. It is one community they're living. Sometimes it seems that it's that way, but it's not. And we need to help them understand that.
Folks, you hear what Omar is saying. He said something so beautiful. People are coming here to America because they realize this is the greatest country the world has ever known. And people come here because it's not just what can I get, but it's also what can I give. And we become enriched when we have people coming here with that attitude, and they're willing to work, and they're willing to share their values with us. Let me tell you something, folks. I think, for a long time, we've been on a bit of a slide when it comes to morality in this country. And maybe we need this witness of the Hispanic community coming out of this culture that talks about family. Maybe we need them at this point to remind us of what is important. It's not the money, okay? It's not the dineros. And I'm speaking more Spanish now, okay? It's not the dineros, okay? It's the perspective that you bring to the United States, to what we need, because America is only going to be as great as its families are. Believe me, if we have a breakdown in the family, the United States is not going to be a united country. You can't have a united country when you don't have families working together. How can you have cities and states working together? You can't. You can't. It's that role modeling, and it starts at the home with the mommy and the daddy, and you raise them nice little kiddies. Omar, I want to ask you something else. We're going to get a little bit political now. I'm not telling you to endorse anybody, okay? Do you ever get involved in little politics? I mean, with your message?
Well, so here's the deal. I myself, I consider myself very apolitical, but yet because I care.
Yeah, me too, folks. I'm apolitical.
Exactly right. I mean, we're really. I don't see myself as apolitical type of people, but yet my duty and my responsibility, it goes beyond taking care of my own family, and that means that I need to get involved in civic life. I need to know what's going on in my city, in my community, in my state, and in my nation, because first of all, I care about myself, I care about my family, my kids, my wife, my mom, my dad, my sisters, my nephews, my uncles, and everybody else. And then I care about my community. So whether you see yourself as a political or a non-political person, that's great. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to engage with your community. And I always tell people, don't label yourself as this or that. Always seek the truth. Even though this might be challenging sometimes, because particularly when it comes to the Latino community, if you ask, most of us will say that, the biggest issue for us in the United States, it's immigration. And yet, it is a big issue, but it's not the biggest issue in the United States for the Latino community. I don't know if people know this, but in average through a year, there is about between 250,000 to 300,000 abortions within the Latino community. It's a silent genocide that no one's speaking of. So when we're talking about what is the utmost important subject for us, it has to be this, because we're losing over 250,000 of our brothers and sisters in this silent genocide. And so when people tend to think about politics, they always go to the extremes, or they only see from their perspective or their needs. And that's important, but truly, we need to be honest and seek the truth and be open to sometimes know that one side or the other, they might give us a piece of bread for today, but tomorrow they're going to take it away, and they're going to take...
You're a very smart man. You're a very, very smart man. That's very true. He's talking about this silent genocide. Yeah, it is. You're killing off, millions of future Hispanic Americans. And a lot of people promise you a lot of things. But if you're not alive, you're not going to get them. How's that? That's one of my brilliant insights, Omar. Hey, Omar, what do you want to say? Say something in Spanish to the Spanish-speaking audience. We have tons of Spanish people that are watching this show. Go ahead, speak.
Muchas gracias por acompañarnos. Para nosotros es una bendición estar con ustedes y compartir este mensaje de respeto a la vida como latinos, como latinoamericanos. Somos gente que es pro vida, que es pro familia, y conservemos nuestra cultura, ofrezcámosle lo mejor de nosotros a los Estados Unidos, nuestra casa, la casa de nuestros hijos y la casa de nuestros nietos. Así es que comprometámonos desde nuestro metro cuadrado de nuestra realidad a ser pro vidas, y si en algo les podemos servir, aquí estamos.
Wow, and I agree with every word you said. That was just fantastic. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Omar's for action, I'm for action, and I hope you are too. Thanks for watching. Please join us next time for Action for Life. I'm for action, and I hope you are too. I'm Father Michael Orsi. I am your host for Action for Life Television, that good news program which talks about the gospel of Jesus Christ, the big G, and the little g, all the good things that people are doing to put the gospel of life into action. So please join us for the next episode of Action for Life.